There is a lot to learn when you first start out playing Beast of Reincarnation. This is a very mechanics-heavy game with unique combat that has you sprouting flowers, working together with your canine companion, and grappling to and fro in between all of the hacking and slashing. The good news is most enemies have various weaknesses, and taking advantage of them is an easy way to give yourself that extra edge you may need to overcome a challenging combat encounter or boss fight. In this video, we will break down how to spot enemy weaknesses, take advantage of them, and also cover some status ailments that you can inflict to take them down with ease. Before giving any particular tips, let's first explain what all the elements are and how they are unique from one another. If you take a look at Emma and Ku's attribute screen, you'll see that there are 4 elements under elemental inflict: poison, acid, flame, and lightning. These are the elements that will inflict status buildup, and they can even cause secondary effects, such as temporarily stunning an enemy with lightning, for example. Once the status buildup reaches a certain threshold, shown by the circle that fills next to their life bar, the status will be inflicted, causing damage over time. There's also an elemental resist section for Emma. This indicates what elements Emma is resistant to, and this is determined by which armor you equip. Each armor set has its own resistances and can further help protect Emma from becoming inflicted by status ailments. Most of the other element types don't build up to a status, but still do extra damage towards enemies weak against that damage type. The big ones are Rupture, Destructive, Impact, and Explosive, and they'll often be associated with Ku's attacks. Not only are certain enemies weak to these particular kinds of damage, they can also have secondary effects. For example, destructive attacks have the ability to break shields, which comes in extra handy. Some ailments, like Oily and Drenched, interact with elemental damage types. Drenching an enemy, for instance, and then attacking them with electric damage will eventually trigger Jolt, a better version of the shocked ailment. Oily does much the same, only it triggers Scorch when you continuously attack an oiled up enemy with fire damage. For positive elements, Recovery heals HP, Support heals your own statuses, and then Special is reserved for things that don't fit in other categories, such as Ku's Taunt and Snatch skills. When these support skills are equipped, Ku will use them automatically to help Emma in battle. Recovery and support skills are particularly important as they will heal Emma and cure her of her status ailments when inflicted. Each zone in Beast of Reincarnation generally comprises its own set of enemies, which means that you can usually craft a zone-specific loadout to be able to efficiently deal with just about everything you'll encounter in that zone. For example, the Ancient Civilization zone located in the Kanto region has a number of enemies that are weak to lightning. In that same zone, you can find an ancient golem that sells a lightning arrow manual. Purchase it, and this will automatically add lightning arrows to your arsenal. Identify what enemies are weak to what, and you can do that by looking at the icon next to their health bar. This icon means the enemy is weak to fire, while this one means the enemy is weak to acid. This enemy is weak to impact damage, and so on. Just make sure to match the icons with the corresponding counter attack, and you will surely get the best of them. To exploit enemy weaknesses, you'll want to use your skills to target them directly. One easy way of doing this is by utilizing your ranged options. You can add new types of elemental bolts or arrows by finding their crafting manuals out in the field, or simply buying them from a merchant. These can be upgraded at a campfire or the workbench in your cleanse walker to increase their elemental damage or increase the number that you carry by enhancing your quiver. Just note that this costs a fair bit of amber, which is also required to upgrade your melee weapon. So make sure that you're striking a good balance of upgrading both close and long-range combat options. Focusing on upgrading ranged attacks can make enemy encounters much more manageable. We recommend using this ammunition to weaken other archers and distant enemies that are part of a crowd, so that you're not too overwhelmed in that encounter. You can also enhance Emma's tracking shot on her skill tree. This is where you can upgrade your ranged weapon to become infused with blight, causing them to track foes and pierce them. The The more points you spend on this, the stronger your arrows get. You can also enhance your bow and crossbow further down on the skill tree, as well as unlock perks such as Lucky Shot, where ranged attacks have a chance not to consume ammunition. Ranged attacks aren't the only method of targeting weaknesses, however. Most of the swords that you find or purchase will also have a damage type that can be matched to whatever enemies you're facing. Just note that you cannot change your gear mid-combat, so you'll have to equip the proper sword before engaging. It's a good idea to have a handful of swords with different damage types upgraded so you can swap them in and out as needed. Another great way to exploit enemy weaknesses is by upgrading Ku's Bloom Arts, where you can unlock specific elemental attacks to help Emma in battle. When choosing which of Ku's abilities to upgrade and equip, it's important to look at the elemental icon next to the ability name. If it has a flame, use that ability against enemies weak to fire. Follow up with flame bolts from your crossbow, and that enemy will be burning in no time. You can also enhance Ku's Sakura Javelin Electric skill tree so that Ku can hit enemies with an attack that inflicts lightning damage. Utilizing lightning damage will cause weakened enemies to go into shock, stunning them so you have a window to attack. To take it a step further, you can equip the Thunder Wave Sword, which inflicts lightning damage and even calls down lightning on nearby enemies, giving you even more opportunities to weaken and shock them. The sword can be found in the previously mentioned Kanto region as well, just before fighting the second Nushi boss. And just like that, you have a solid early game lightning build. And those are just some tips on how to use status ailments to expose enemy weaknesses. It's no secret that you will have to get good at parrying, dodging, and fighting your way out of danger, but it sure does help to exploit elemental vulnerabilities and make them more manageable. For more on Beast of Reincarnation, check out our wiki over at IGN.com. And for all things gaming, you're already in the right place. Stick with IGN.